David, well, as Alicia said, we had those very poor jobs numbers out of the US on Friday, with unemployment now at 10.2% in the US. I would have thought that that might have led to some risk aversion, maybe a pullback in riskier assets like the Rand. But here we have the Rand strengthening below R7.50 this morning.
Absolutely, Stephen. That was the initial response from the market. The Rand weakened slightly after that number. But a couple of things have happened over the last couple of days, and notably amongst that was that the Federal Reserve was saying that they're going to keep rates at low levels for longer. And that's what the market is focusing on at the moment. Friday's number produced the assessment that 10% above 10% unemployment rate and probably going higher before it stabilizes will mean that rates can remain at zero in the US for longer than initially expected. And of course that's fueled speculation that the dollar, which is already a heavily the major funding currency in the world, players will add to the risk that they already have, because rates will remain low and they're looking for yield elsewhere in the globe.
So really just improving the carry trade at this stage?
I think so, and every number that supports that theory will add to dollar weakness. We're already seeing the euro trading at 150 right now. Gold is pushed up towards 1,110. The Rand benefiting from all of this, and as a major carry currency as investors around the world look for yield.
Well, we've seen the dollar weakening against the euro, as you said. How's the Rand been performing against the other majors?
Well, over the last couple of weeks, since we had the medium-term budget framework discussion coming out of government, the Rand performed very poorly against just about every currency in the world. We've reversed some of those losses, and right now we're performing quite well. The market buoyed by negative sentiment towards the dollar, and currencies that do offer an attractive yield like the Rand are going to benefit. So on a trade-weighted basis, the Rand has also benefited quite substantially.
We're just taking a look at some of the econ data that's out this week. We've got business confidence tomorrow, which is probably not particularly market moving. The manufacturing data, and I think you're still looking for a big year-on-year contraction in manufacturing numbers, aren't you?
I think manufacturing is going to continue to be sluggish going forward. As the US showed on Friday, the real economy globally is not nearly out of the woods yet. An unemployment rate at 10.2% in the US. It speaks to a very soggy global economy, and I think we're going to feel the brunt of that going forward. So manufacturing clearly an issue in South Africa, particularly as the Rand has been strong for most of the year. And hasn't really done much for our export sector. I'd be very surprised if manufacturing picked up quite, anywhere near a number that's going to surprise the markets.
And do you think that manufacturing data is Rand sensitive at all, or do you think we're really just going to be following those global factors, David?
Stephen, the market, vacillates between domestic factors and international factors. Domestic factors are not positive at all at the moment, but international factors over the last 5 trading days have played into the Rand's hand. So it really just depends what the market focuses on from time to time. For now, the international factors are dominant, though.
Of course, we have Jill Marcus starting today as Reserve Bank Governor. We have an MPC meeting next week where she'll decide on interest rates. And this is possibly the last interest rate meeting of this year of 2009. What's the market pricing in at the moment?
Certainly bonds have moved very much stronger over the last few trading sessions, and there isn't a slight expectation that perhaps the Reserve Bank under Jill Marcus can cut rates. I'd be surprised if she uses her first MPC meeting to cut rates at this point. Inflation is not within that 3 to 6 band yet, but the market has become a little bit more dovish over the last few trading sessions as far as interest rates are concerned, because PPI numbers, and particularly a strong Rand, will support PPI. Perhaps might lead to a further reduction in rates, but not yet.
Of course, we do know that the Reserve Bank and the Treasury have both said quite openly that they would like the Rand to weaken. By cutting interest rates by 50 basis points or 100 basis points, would that necessarily take away the Rand's allure as a carry trade currency and let it weaken a little bit?
Well, I certainly think it would help the cause as far as trying to weaken the currency. But, at this point, the debate hasn't really begun about inflation targeting, although the finance minister did say it's something that he would like to implement, a debate around inflation targeting and perhaps moving those bands. As yet, we haven't seen an absolute policy change. And I'd be surprised if they look at the rand and say, you know, if we reduce rates, that will weaken the rand and that will help manufacturing, because there's just so many factors at play at the moment. So we haven't seen a formal policy shift as yet, and I don't think it's something that they will deliberately do to try to weaken the rand.
As you mentioned earlier, we've got gold trading at well above $1,000 an ounce at the moment. I mean, this is being rand supportive in the meantime. Do you think it's going to hold the rand at these levels going forward? Where would you expect the rand to trade this week?
Well, I think the rand is certainly going to benefit. I am a dollar bear, and I think now that we've got to 150 on the euro on two separate occasions recently, I think that opens up new lows for the dollar, certainly new highs for the euro, and the rand will benefit. I think 738 is very supportive on the downside, and beyond that, then we start looking at 720 again. I wouldn't be surprised if the dollar continues to weaken for the rest of the year, and it wouldn't surprise me if the rand traded as low as 720 in the not too distant future.